Welcome dear students to lecture 3 of module 2. In this lecture we'll be learning about substitution and transposition techniques of encryption and decryption. Let us learn about Hill cipher. Hill cipher was developed by the mathematician Lester Hill in 1929. This encryption algorithm takes m successive plain text letters and substitutes for them m ciphertext letters. For encryption, we use C equal to Kp mod 26, and for decryption, we use P is equal to K inverse C mod 26. So let us understand how to do the encryption and decryption using an example. So the question here is, you have to encrypt the plain text hard work using Hill cipher with the key. The key given here is 2 cross 2 matrix and we have to decrypt the same. So once we are done working out this encryption and decryption problem, we will be able to understand how to encrypt or decrypt for any given plain text using any key. It can be 3 cross 3 key also or any other key. So let us start with the question here. So first what you have to do is, so we know that for encryption we have to take C is equal to Kp mod 26. Now we know K is equal to 2 cross 2 matrix. So this is 7, 8, 19 and 3. And the given plain text is hard work H A R D W O R K. Now we have to write this plain text in the form of column matrix. So since it is 2 cross 2, key is 2 cross 2, we have to write a matrix with one column and two rows. So H A R D, then W O R K. Once we write this, we have to write the numerical equivalent of this H and A. We have assigned the numbers for alphabets A to Z. So we have to see that and write the equivalent. So what is H equal to? H is equal to 7 and A is equal to 0. R is equal to 17 and D is equal to 3. W is equal to 22 and O is equal to 14. Then R is equal to 17 and K is equal to 10. So now we have written the equivalent, numerical equivalent of the alphabets. So let us start with the encryption process. So the first one, so I'll write it as C1 equal to, so let us take the key, that is Kp mod 26. So key is equal to 7, 8, 19, 3 and here it is P. P is H and A, so 7 and 0. Mod 26 is equal to, now we have to multiply this K matrix and the P matrix. So we have to multiply 7 into 7 plus 8 into 0. So I get this as 49. Then 19 into 7 plus 3 into 0. So I get it as 133 and mod 26. So what do we get over here? We have to do mod 26. So after doing mod 26, 49 mod 26, we get it as 23. 133 mod 26, we get it as 3. Now we write the alphabet equivalent of this. So 23 is equal to X and 3 is equal to D. So this is the first step. Let us proceed with the next. So next we have R and D. So here we write, so P2 I can take equal to R and D. So R and D, so first I have to write the key, KP mod 26 it is. So the key 7, 8, 19, 3 and P, that is RD now. So 17 and 3. So mod 26. So which is equal to, now multiply this 7 into 17 plus 8 into 3. So that we get it as 143. Next 19 into 17 plus 3 into 3, that is 332 mod 26. So how much, what do we get now? We have to do the modulus operation. So 143 mod 26 we get it as 13. 332 mod 26 we get it as 20. Now the alphabet equivalent of this will be N and U. We will come to the next step. Now P3. Now we have to do it for W and O. So 7, 8, 19, 3. So W and O. W and O will be 22 and 14. So mod 26. Let us multiply this. So 7 into 22 plus 8 into 14, we get it as 266. 19 into 22 plus 3 into 14, we get it as 460. Mod 26. So now 266 mod 26 we get it as 6. 460 mod 26 we get it as 18. So the alphabet equivalent of this will be G and S. So next, the last one is R and K, we have to encrypt. So P4 I will take it as, again 7, 8, 19 and 3. This is the key, and the R and K will be 17 and 10. Mod 26, which will be equal to, now multiplying 7 into 17 plus 8 into 10, we get it as 199. 19 into 17 plus 3 into 10, we get it as 353. So mod 26. Now 199 mod 26 will be 17. 353 mod 26 will be 15. So the alphabet equivalent of this will be, 17 is R and 15 is P. So now the encrypted, so the plain text what we had was hard work, HARDWORK. So after encryption, the cipher text what we get is XDNUGS. RP. So this is how the encryption process is done. In case if you have a 3 cross 3 matrix, then we have to take a column vector with the 3 alphabets there. If it is 2 cross 2, we take 2 alphabets, and the same procedure is followed. We have seen the encryption process. Now let us see how to do the decryption. So for decryption, we have P is equal to K inverse C mod 26. So we need to find the inverse of the key. So inverse of the key is, how is it found? It is adjoint of K. Your normal, how do we find the inverse of a matrix? The same thing, divided by the determinant of K. So first let us find the determinant of K. So what is the determinant of K? 7, 8, 19, 3. So what is the determinant we get? We get this determinant as 7 into 3 minus 19 into 8. We get it as minus 131. Now here, so adjoint of K. What is adjoint of K? So adjoint of K will be, here this is we had the key as, what was the key? 7, 8, 19 and 3. Adjoint of k will be, I have to just interchange this 3 and 7 and change the signs of the other diagonal, minus 8 and minus 19. This is your adjoint of k. Now k inverse will be 3 minus 8 minus 19, 7 divided by minus 131. Now 1 by minus 1 by 131 is not your simple division as in our normal division. Okay, this here it is, we have to remember this is modular arithmetic. So here inverse means we have to find the inverse of this in this particular method. So what you have to do, so inverse is here, we have to take here first, it is 131. So first let us do 130 minus 131 mod 26. So when I do minus 131 mod 26, I get this as minus 1 mod 26, which will be equal to 25. Now I have to take the inverse of 1 by 25. How do I take the inverse of 25? So I have to do 25 into a number mod 26, which gives me the answer to be 1. You know, no, multiplicative inverse means what? The product should be yield, the product should yield 1. So now we have to find a number which is multiplied with 25, mod 26 gives me 1. So a simpler way I'll teach you is, what you do is you take this as 26a plus 1 divided by 25. You take it like this and substitute the values for a. First you take a as 1, then a as 2, a as 3. You take so on values such that we get a whole number after division. So when I substitute a is equal to 25, this is completely divisible by 24. Sorry, when I get a as 24, I get the quotient to be, one second. So if I get a is equal to 24, I get the quotient to be 25. All the other ways where a is equal to 1, a is equal to, or a equal to 3, so on, I will not get a whole number. I will get something with the remainder. So completely divisible is when a is equal to 24. So now I have to take the quotient as the answer over here. So now I can take 25 into 25. So 25 will be the inverse of 25. 25 mod 26 will yield 1. You can calculate this. Okay, so 25 to 25 mod 26, you will get the answer to be 1. So the inverse here is 25. This is the inverse. This is how you have to calculate the inverse. So let us continue. Now we have got the inverse. So now I have to still further I have to get k inverse. So 1 by minus 131, the inverse will be 25. So 25 into 3 minus 8 minus 19, 7. Okay. After multiplying this, what do we get? We get this as 75 minus 200 minus 475 and 175. So this mod 26. So after doing mod, that is 75 mod 26, we get it as 23. Minus 200 mod 26, we get it as 8. If you get a negative answer, you have to add with the 26 to get a positive answer. By now you should be aware of this, right? So minus 475 mod 26, we get it as plus 19. And 175 mod 26, we get it as 19. You will get a negative answer for these two, 8 and 19. Add 26 with that, you will get 8 and 19 over here. So this is the k inverse. Now after this, now let us apply the equivalent. Now let us find the plain text. So starting with first one. So let me consider C1. We have all now K inverse I have to take. So 23, 8, 19 and 19. So the first letters what we had was, we had from, now go to the reverse process, the encryption what we got there, we had X D, then we had to take N U G S R P. This was the ciphertext. So for X and D, what is the equivalent for X and D? So 23 and 3 mod 26. So we get this as, so after multiplying we get this as 553 and here we get it as 494 mod 26. So we get the answer to be 7 and 0. So what is equivalent of this 7 and 0? It is H and A. Coming to the next one, C2. So K inverse 23, 8, 19 and 19. And now it is N and U. N and U equivalent will be 13 and 20. Mod 26. So which is equal to 459 and 627 mod 26. So which is equal to 17 and 3. So we get this as equivalent of 17 and 3 will be R D. Coming to the next set of alphabets, C3 will be equal to 23, 8, 19 and 19. So here now we have to take G and S. So G and S will be 6 and 18. So 6 and 8 mod 26. So we will get this as 282 and 456 mod 26, which is equal to 282 mod 26 will be 22 and 456 mod 26 will be 14. So we get this as, so 22 and 14 equivalent will be W and O. Next, so C4. C4 will be 23, 8, 19 and 19. And here it is R and P. R and P will be 17 and 15. So mod 26, which is equal to 511 and 608 mod 26, which is equal to 17 and 10. So 17 and 10, the alphabet equivalent will be R and K. So now we got the plain text from the given ciphertext. So HARD is hard, WRK is hard work. So this is how you have to do the decryption process. So we started with XD, NU, GS and RP. This was the ciphertext given. So this is the cipher, and from this we got the plain text. This is how the Hill cipher encryption and decryption process is done. Another way to improve on the simple monoalphabetic technique is to use different monoalphabetic substitution as one proceeds to the plain text. The general name for this approach is a polyalphabetic substitution cipher. In polyalphabetic cipher, substitution is made from many alphabet sequence. A set of related monoalphabetic substitution rules is used. A key determines what particular rule is chosen for a given transformation. The best known and one of the simplest polyalphabetic cipher is the Vigenère cipher. In this scheme, the set of related monoalphabetic substitution rules consist of the 26 Caesar ciphers with the shifts of 0 through 25. Each cipher is denoted by a key letter, which is the ciphertext letter that substitute for the plain text letter A. Thus, a Caesar cipher with a shift of 3 is denoted by the key value D. So let us take an example over here. So say the key given is deceptive, deceptive, deceptive. The key should be as long as the plain text. So the plain text here given is we are discovered, save yourself. So how to convert this into plain text? So numerically what we do is we write the key, we write it, and the numerical equivalent of the keys are listed out, and the plain text numerical equivalent of the plain text alphabets are also written down. Then what is done over here is we have to take, now it is the same as a shift cipher or the Caesar cipher. So this cipher will be your key plus the plain text mod 26. But here key every time it is going to be different. So for the alphabet here, the starting alphabet is D. This is the D. So its equivalent is 3 and the plain text is W. So it is 22. So what we do is we do 3 plus 22 mod 26. So how much do you get this as? This is 25 mod 26. So we get 25. Next case it is E and E. So E is 4 key and the plain text is 4. So here it is 4 plus 4 mod 26. So we get this as 8 mod 26. So we get so equivalent of 8 is I. So the cipher will be I. So similarly we follow this procedure. In cipher, in a Caesar cipher, the key is constant, whereas it is the same. But here for every alphabet the key is going to be different. So then we write the corresponding cipher text. This method we have to follow over here. The strength of this cipher is that there are multiple ciphertext letters for each plaintext letter, one for each unique letter of the keyword. Thus, the letter frequency information is obscured. Whereas in monoalphabetic cipher, if the letter frequencies are going to be the same for the ciphertext, so we can compare the letter frequencies and deduce the equivalent alphabets and then get the cipher, the plain text. However, here also not all knowledge of the plain text structure is lost. Now in this, we have to consider the Vigenère example, whatever we have taken, the keyword is of length 9. Okay, but there is an improvement over the Playfair cipher, but considerably frequency information remains, it remains here. So it is instructive to sketch a method of breaking this cipher because the method reveals some of the mathematical principles that apply in cryptanalysis. First, suppose that opponent believes that the ciphertext was encrypted using either monoalphabetic substitution or a Vigenère cipher. A simple test can be made to make a determination. Now, if monoalphabetic substitution is used, then the statistical properties of the ciphertext should be the same as that of the language of the plain text. Now, we have already seen the statistical graph of the alphabets. So we have to list out the ciphertext statistics also, and if we compare, then if we have the occurrence as say there it was 12.7% one of the occurrences we have seen, the majorly used was E. So if we get some 12.07%, then we can say that it is monoalphabetic cipher. But if only a single message is available for analysis, we would not expect an exact match of this small sample with the statistical profile of the plaintext language. Nevertheless, if the correspondence is close, we can assume a monoalphabetic substitution. If, on the other hand, Vigenère cipher is suspected, then progress depends on determining the length of the keyword. Okay, that we'll see how it is. Now let us, if we concentrate on the keyword length, then the important insight that leads to a solution is the following thing. That is, if two identical sequences of the plaintext letter occurs at a distance. Now that is in this case, now here see here we have VTW, and again after some instant again we have VTW, means we can assume that at this instant the keywords are being repeated, because here in Wegener cipher the keywords are repeated such that it is as long as the plain text. Now in this case VTW is repeated, or in the sense here the plain text RED, right, is separated by 9 differences. We are discovered, save, we are discovered, save yourself. So RED, this is RED and RED, it is repeated, and so its cipher is VTW and VTW. So here also it is RED, VTW. So it means we can assume that either the keyword is 3 long, it is of the keyword consists of 3 letters, or it is the length is 9. So now in this case, we have seen that either the analyst will assume that the keyword length is 3, or it can be of length 9. But the appearance of VTW here in this case need not be that it is here it is coincidental, it has repeated here twice, because RED and RED are encrypted to VTW, but it can need not be the same. But in case if you have a longer message, then at every instant the letters encrypted might be encrypted with identical long enough, then there will be enough number of such repeated ciphertext sequences. By looking for common factors in the displacement of the various sequences, the analyst should be able to make a good guess of the keyword length. Now, solution of the cipher now depends on the important insight, that is, if the keyword length is M, then the cipher in effect consists of M monoalphabetic substitution ciphers. Now, for example, with the keyword deceptive, the letters in position 1, 10, and 19, and so on, are all encrypted the same monoalphabetic cipher. Thus, we can use the known frequency characteristic of the plain text to attack each of the monoalphabetic ciphers separately. So the periodic nature of the keyword can be eliminated by using a non-repeating keyword that is as long as the message itself. So we will see that in the next example. Wegener proposed what is referred to as an autokey system, in which a keyword is concatenated with the plain text itself to provide a running key. Now, for example, here deceptive was a keyword, okay, and we are discovered, save yourself was a plain text message. So after the deceptive keyword, we are discovered, save, so as the plain text is concatenated with the key itself to make the key as long as that of the plain text. So here the repetitive nature of the keyword will be avoided. So according, then the same concept is used, D and W. So its numerical values are taken, then they are added. Then your mod 26 is done. Then the equivalent numerical alphabet is written over here. So accordingly, you will get the cipher text. Even this scheme is vulnerable to cryptanalysis because the key and the plain text share the same frequency distribution of letters. So a statistical technique can be applied for the cryptanalyst to analyze which the and get the plain text. To overcome the cryptanalytic attacks, it is wise to choose a keyword that is as long as enough the plain text and has no statistical relationship to it. Such a system was introduced by an AT&T engineer named Gilbert Vernon in 1918. His system works on binary data rather than letters, so it can be expressed as the ciphertext CI is obtained by the plain text XORing with the bit the key stream. So here PI is the ith binary digit of plain text, K is the binary digit of the key, and CI is ith binary digit of ciphertext, and this is the XOR operation. Okay, so here the ciphertext is generated by performing the bitwise XOR of the plain text and the key. Because of the properties of the XOR, the decryption simply involves the same bitwise operation. Now, the essence of this technique is the means of construction of the key. Varnam proposed the use of running loop of tape that eventually repeated the key, so that in fact the system worked with very long but repeating keywords. Although such a scheme with a long key presents formidable cryptanalytic difficulties, it can be broken with sufficient ciphertext, the use of known or probable plaintext sequences, or both. Next is the one-time pad. An Army Signal Corps officer, Joseph Mawborn, proposed an improvement to the Burnham cipher that yields the ultimate in security. Mawborn suggested using a random key that is as long as a message so that the key need not be repeated. In addition, the key is to be used to encrypt and decrypt a single message and then is discarded. Each new message requires a new key of the same length as the new message. Such a scheme, known as one-time pad, is unbreakable. It produces a random output that bears no statistical relationship to the plain text. Because the ciphertext contains no information whatsoever about the plain text, there is simply no way to break the code. So, let us take an example to understand how this works. Now, here we have the ciphertext. Okay, this is a given ciphertext. Now we have to we'll show two different keys. Every time a key is different for encryption and decryption. So this is the same ciphertext. Now the key, once the key generated is PX, LMVS, this is the key. Okay, this is as long as ciphertext. So the plain text from this key is Mr. Mustard with the candlestick in the hall. Another case, the same ciphertext is taken with a different key. Now here the plain text what we get is Miss Scarlet with the knife in the library. Now both these have a meaning, but we don't know what exactly the cipher text and the plain text, what the plain text is supposed to be. That is why it is said that it is unbreakable. So the same ciphertext, two different keys are taken, but every time that keys are randomly generated and it is discarded, so we are going to get two different plain texts. The security of the one-time pad is entirely due to the randomness of the key. If the stream of characters that constitute the key is truly random, then the stream of characters that constitute the ciphertext will be truly random. So there are no patterns or regularities that a cryptanalyst can use to attack the ciphertext. Now in theory this is okay, but in practical there are two fundamental difficulties. One is there is a practical problem of making large quantities of random keys. Now in any heavily used systems might require millions of random characters on a regular basis. So supplying truly random characters in this volume is a significant task. Next, even more problematic is a key distribution and protection. Now, for every message to be sent, a key of equal length is needed by both sender and receiver. So, this key distribution problem also exists. Now, because of these difficulties, the one-time pad is of limited utility and is useful primarily for low bandwidth channels requiring very high security. The one-time pad is the only crypto system that exhibits what is referred to as perfect secrecy. All the techniques examined so far involve the substitution of ciphertext symbol for a plain text symbol. A very different kind of mapping is achieved by performing some sort of permutation on the plain text letters. This technique is referred to as a transposition cipher. The simplest such cipher is the rail fence technique. In the rail fence cipher technique, the plain text is written down as a sequence of diagonals and then read as a sequence of rows. Now, for example, here an example is taken, that is meet me after the toga party. So how we write it? So I write first M, then I write E below, then I write E, then below I write T, meet, then M, me, then after meet me after, so A, F below, T above, E below, R above. So meet me after is over. The T below, H above, E below, then toga, T above, O below, G above, A below, P above, A below, R above, T below, and Y above. Now how do we read? Now when I write the ciphertext, I have to write the first row and this is the second row. So the ciphertext is M, E, M, A, T, R, H, T, G, P, R, Y, and second row E, T, E, F, E, T, E, O, A, T. Okay. So how do you write it? M, meet. So M in the first line and diagonally E. Next ET, E above, T below. Meet me, M above, E below. After A above, F below. T above, E below. R above, T below. H above, E below. Toga, T above, O below. G above, A below. You complete this. Then the first row you write in the beginning, then you continue the second row. This is how you use the rail fence cipher. A more complex scheme is to write the message in the rectangle row by row and read the message of column by column, but permute the order of the column. The order of the column is the key of the algorithm. For example, we have taken here the key to be 4, 3, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 and the plain text to be attack postpone until 2 a.m. So how do we write this? First I will write the key. So key is written as above 4, 3, 1, 2, 5, 6 and 7. Then here I go on writing the plain text in the same order. So attack A, T, T, A, C, K. Postpone P, O, S, T, P, O, N, E, D until U, N, T, I, L to T, W, O, A, M. So since here three alphabets are blank here, I will simply fill it up with X, Y and Z just to complete the columns. So here now when I read, I should start writing from the first column. So this is the first. So I have tried the ciphertext from the first column. So the whole column I have tried T, T, N, A. Then I should go to the second column, this one. So it is A, P, T, M. Next I should come to the third column. So it is T, S, U, O. Then the fourth one, that is A, O, D and W. Then coming to the fifth one, that is C, O, I and X. Then is the sixth one, this one, that is K, N, L and Y. Then is the seventh one, that is P, E, T and Z. So this is the ciphertext. So first we write down the key, then we write down the given plain text in order of in the same order. Then while writing the ciphertext, we start with the first column, then second, then third, 4, 5, 6 and 7. This is the cipher text. So this can be done more secure by performing more than one stage of a transposition. So again I have to again write the key, and this ciphertext whatever I have got, again I should list out in the same manner, so to make it more secure.